So without my particles turned on, it might not be immediately obvious, but I am currently standing in the nether. So here's a clip from before I started. This is the area the spawn nether portal and a few bases in the area link to. As a result, you can see just how ugly this area has gotten since everybody began their nether update adventures. Well, it became a popular question of when our SMP server would get a nether hub and what it might look like. If you see in the first episode, you'll know that the spawn area is themed like the nether, and it was suggested that we inverse that here, so here's what I set out to do. However, before I get into a time lapse of clearing this space out and laying the groundwork for the build, I'd like to take a second to ask that if you liked this video, go ahead and hit the like button to help me grow the channel. And if you really like what you've seen today, consider subscribing for future content. Alright, let's get to it. The next step I took was to create a natural sky, and for some reason I chose to do this with blue wool, which took forever and was painful. So I didn't take any video footage because of all the scaffolding in the way. These are the only screenshots I have. Here I started on a piece of the project that I didn't realize I would take so far. I ended up building this wall all the way to the ceiling and all the way around the build just to completely block any view of the nether. Placing all these blocks to make that happen, I ended up with just under 7 hours of active footage. So to spare everybody my personal insanity, I'm going to skip to the end of that, and if you really want to see it, I can upload a separate video. Okay, it is finally done, this wall. This time lapse is going to be ridiculously long. I don't actually know how many hours this took me, but it took a lot. I'll in post edit, I'll put it on screen just how many hours it took me to put this wall together. And I'm not the fastest builder, but this definitely took me way longer than I was hoping. I actually started this project on the 5th, and as of recording this now, it is the 17th. And I still have a few things to do. I want to put clouds all around here to connect the sky to the stone. And then I want to go over the stone in certain areas and just kind of consolidate the way I'm doing texturing. Because I started with this, I hated it, and I started going more random. And I liked it for here, this little section here. But I got lazy, and now there's a bunch of holes here. I like the texturing I did there. Except for some of the little holes, it just kind of looks a little rough in some places. And then I did a good here, I think. And that's a little flat, so I need to fix that. But overall, I just need to make it more consistent. I think my favorite so far is this wall, because it's not holy. It's got like consistent bridges and all that. But it doesn't look like a smooth wall like that one. So I think I'm going to go over with just a quick pass, probably a quick pass to be like 2 hours, just to update these a little bit. And then I'm going to do the clouds, of course, and then I want to put in the spruce trees here. And then somebody suggested that I experiment with the ice around the edges, and I kind of liked just how this little bit looked, so I think I'm going to put a little frozen pond over here. And then do some ice touch-ups along the edges, maybe up there, some icicles or something. This project's already taken a long time, though, so I think that's going to be the final thing that I add to this project before I wrap it up. I also want to submit to the PMC Nether build contest, because technically this is a Nether build, and I think it's impressive that I did it in survival. I certainly have earned quite a lot of respect for the other SMP players. I've never done a project on this scale, and I've always loved the projects they do. I've always admired how much time and effort they put into them. but I've never been able to fully appreciate it because I've never done something on this size of scale myself. So, and then after that, sorry, a little tangent there. After that, I think I'm going to curve these tunnels so that you can't actually see the nether from the inside, so that you'll be completely isolated from the nether here, because that was the whole idea. And I already started that on this cave over here. As you can see, you can't really see the nether beyond the cave. It's just a very simple curve. Then on the outside, eventually, it probably won't be done before this video is released, but eventually I would like to cover the entire outside in netherrack, just so that you don't really see what's going on here from the outside. It still looks like the nether, because it's kind of, as it is now, just a big eyesore from the outside. It doesn't fit in at all. I mean, the idea isn't for this to fit in, but I want it to be kind of isolated in like a little oasis. It is a touch of the overworld, but it is also hidden, you know? So that's the current plan. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get right onto the clouds, and then I will come back after I'm done with that. And right away, I lied in the last clip. I decided I wanted to do the trees before the clouds, and I'm really glad that I did, because from the beginning, I had envisioned this area as a snowy taiga biome, which just hadn't really come to fruition without the trees. And then, of course, after I had gotten all the trees down, I had to put a layer of snow on the trees, and this took forever, but man, I think it does look good. Anyway, this is the finished product. As you can see, I decided that the wool for the clouds wasn't torture enough. I added some tinted white glass to the bottoms and edges to make them look a little bit more like clouds. And maybe it's personal bias, but I'm not super enthused with how these turned out compared to the rest of the build. I think eventually I'll need to add some, more bulky clouds here in the center, around this region here. But this project has already taken too long as is, so we're going to stop here. Anyway, I'm going to go back in the cabin so that you can see the starting point as you come to the nether. By the way, thanks to Silvahunter for building this cabin, and Neyii for decorating the interior here. Both are things which I am not very good at. Anyway, then you come out of the cabin, immediately you're plunged into a sort of winter wonderland, and it's so weird to come out of the nether and then find yourself surrounded by snow, and then even icicles that I added here on the edges of the walls. But I like it, and now PlebCraft has a nether hub. I've still got a few things left over that I want to do. For example, in the back over here, I want to add like a dock to the edge here outside the cave. 1 second. So out here I'd like to add a dock that kind of goes over the lava, probably with some twisted the crimson trees and the twisted trees. Probably make a really cool dock here. And then of course I'd like to cover all the stone on the outside here with netherrack, but that's going to take a long time and it's going to have to wait, but it'll really separate the regions some more. Anyway, that's it for today's episode. If you made it this far and you liked what you've seen, consider giving the video a like or subscribing for more. Also, if you want to explore the build yourself, anyone is free to join the PlebCraft Minecraft server. We're running the latest 1.16.1 build on Java Edition, and the IP should be on the screen. Lastly, I want to thank a few people for helping farm up the materials for this build. Firstly, MrTinkrTrain sold me an immense amount of stone and for the walls here, and also helped place some of the tinted glass here in the clouds. Next up, SuperMayhemMan sold me a ton, and I mean a ton, of wool. Next, SquidyBoss also sold me some wool and stone, very helpful. And last but not least, DogeWarrior713 sold me a few stacks of wool as well. If I forgot anyone, I apologize in advance, but let me know and I'll edit the description. This has been a long build, and I'm truly sorry if I forgot you. Alright, well, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.